I'm
started.
not getting the video yet.
Sure. Just started it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay. Let me know
Okay.
if you can see now.
Mm-hmm. I can see.
You can see, right? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So we'll review the topics that we saw the other day on networking.
Okay.
Okay. Day 11. Okay. Here we go. Right. We talked about vNIC, vSwitch, port groups, and VMNIC. Okay. You
Mm.
tell me your understanding of what is VMNIC.
VMNIC is the NIC at the host level, which communicate with the HB of the hardware. VNIC is the
No, no. Wait, wait,
uh,
wait, wait. HPA? No. Can you rephrase, or maybe you got it understanding? You're putting the wrong terms. Can you
I'm interested in the network card, not the HBA.
network?
Yeah, I did it. Yeah,
Yes,
network card.
yes.
Correct, correct.
Network card. Yes.
Uh,
Go on. Go on.
Always in the storage, it will was the IP
Yeah.
HBA. That's why by
No
default it
problem.
comes as a HBA. Uh,
I understand you're a core storage guy, Shubham. Don't worry.
Hey, no, I'm not core. I am really not a core storage guy. I'm
Okay.
trying to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Second is the vSwitch.
vSwitch.
VNIC is the network,
Uh-huh.
virtual network created at the VM level,
Uh-huh.
and VNIC communicates with VMNIC through the vSwitch,
Mm-hmm.
which a virtual switch created,
Mm-hmm.
and port group and VM kernel adapters. VM kernel adapter is probably the physical network card.
No.
Uh,
Both are
I,
same.
I,
Port group and VM kernel adapters are same terminology. Sorry,
mm,
same functionality but different terminology.
okay, so that is the VLAN, right?
That is not a VLAN, but it acts like a VLAN.
It is, it acts like a VLAN.
It
Yes,
acts like a
yes,
VLAN. The underlying VLAN is still on your physical switch only.
correct,
Okay, but
correct.
on the ESXi, if you remember, I've given you an example about if you have an organization, you have one HR department, you have one IT department, you have one engineering
Mm,
department, one support department. All are like sitting in different floors. So I want to
mm,
segregate the users. So suddenly what happens, they're telling support team is not coming for next 1 week. So you want to
mm,
release that IP address. You don't have to go and manually release IP address one by one each machine. You can just
mm,
just do the whole VLAN, support VLAN will be taken down. Or you want to do a maintenance activity on your engineering department, and the team is telling we want to power off all the VM so you can release IP address so that there won't be any unwanted alerts on your system. So maintenance team has given you a notification. So you go ahead and you have power off all the, or you can just bring down all the network IP address that you assigned for the engineering team. So it's a group
mm.
of networking LAN. It's a group of IP address that you can manage virtually. That's why it's called VLAN. So that you do
Okay.
on the physical layer. You can do the same on the VMware layer also, on the virtual layer also, through the help of port groups.
Mm,
Port groups are
okay.
also called as VM kernel adapters. So if you see the diagram what we have here on the other day, not the diagram, the site that we have in our lab.
Mm,
Let me show you the lab. You'll get an understanding.
mm, mm. Actually, for the last 2, 3 days,
Hmm.
not last 2, 3 days, being very honest,
Hmm.
from the last week, my study has dropped
Oh, okay,
for
no
multiple
problem.
reasons. No worries, I'm going to pick it up by next week
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No problem, no problem. We didn't get last 2 weeks. We didn't get in
We
detail
didn't
about
have
any
a
topic.
proper, we
Huh?
didn't had a like, yeah, that was solely because of me, but even
No, no,
multiple
no, no.
things was,
Don't take it on you. Everything. So
uh,
yeah, both are involved. That's fine. So the thing is, no, see the lessons that I'm teaching or the sessions that I'm taking, if you take at least 20%, right, that is
hmm.
good than enough. That is very good for you to clear an
that,
interview or
I
understand.
understood. That I understood that day
Yeah.
when I thanked you over the no in a WhatsApp
Ah,
message.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
call went seriously. Means
Oh, okay.
what happened is they
Mm.
have. I just want to share this. What
Mhm.
happened? Customer has upgraded the
Mm-hmm.
BIOS and the ILO,
Mm-hmm.
and they have updated the ESXi host 6.0 to a
Mm-hmm.
particular patch 1391 something.
Mm-hmm.
And they say to the server guy
Mm-hmm.
that after I update the patch and after doing all this activity,
Mm-hmm.
I lost a path to some of the
Mm-hmm.
what is that called, tape drives.
Mm-hmm.
And my system is not, my VMs are not allowing to back up the data into the tape drives.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I went to the call, I understand it is not a physical drive. It
Mm-hmm.
is a virtual drive. It is
Mm-hmm.
actually a store once at the background. So first I
Mm-hmm.
check the store one's health and find everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then I asked him what is the backup application he is using and where is it residing. He said I'm using Data Protector and it is in a VM. I said,
Mm-hmm.
are you able to see is that VM or is that ESXi host is also updated? He said yes. I said, from that VM, are you able to see the storage? He said yes.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you see the issue with the hardware,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, from the backup application,
Mm-hmm.
you will not be able to see the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So it is neither a issue with the backup nor a issue with the storage hardware, physical hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Then I told the support team, I mean to say the server team,
Mm-hmm.
that look, this is not a physical tape drive.
Mm-hmm.
This is a virtual tape drive. At the back end, it is actually a physical store
Mm-hmm.
once device. You can
Mm-hmm.
create catalyst, NAS, or
Mm-hmm.
this. So what you see is not important. What the back end, what it is running, if the
Mm-hmm.
hardware is fine. So it is just a graphical representation what you see. There is no
Mm-hmm.
tapes. All are hard drives. So if
Mm-hmm.
you see I cannot format a tape, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make any difference because it's the
Mm-hmm.
hard drive which is getting
Yeah.
realigned.
Yeah.
Then I told him, you go to the uh, alt partition,
Mm-hmm.
primary boot and secondary boot of the alt boot partition. I asked him to roll back to the alt boot partition.
Mm-hmm.
So by that time still the VMware guy didn't call. So he asked me what is the alt boot. So I told, look, it is like this, and if you roll it back, you can just, because when we started, I remember about the ILO concept that there is a primary bias, secondary bias. I told you, even you said yeah, yeah, same thing. So I
Okay.
gave the same example. I
Mm-hmm.
took him to the ILO because I don't know how to go there. I took him to the ILO. I showed him primary and secondary bias. And I told him same way there is an option. You check with the VMware guy. You roll back to the alt boot partition and then see if it works. If it doesn't work, then we'll roll back the firmware of the server as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they were very happy, and the server guy was very happy because
Mm.
it was a big customer for us, and they were ending
Oh.
up in escalation.
Mm-hmm.
So we borrowed some 2 hours and then engaged VMware. So
Oh,
it
nice.
was cool. It went cool.
Nice, nice, nice. So what did they told in the end?
They said they were happy with my approach.
Mm-hmm.
And then internally, what happened is they all told, "Hey, Shubham is seriously learning VMware. Now, any issues, now anything like VMware and all, they'll say, Shubham, there is a call. Would you join?"
Nice. Okay. That's very
So
good to know.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
means
yeah. When you get the fruits after planting the trees, no, it's very good. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Very
I
nice,
was
very nice.
very I when it promptly came in my mind that alt boot thing. I am
Mm.
not sure how to do it. Even we can do it in this situation. I
Shift
was
or,
not
yeah, shift or, but it's okay. You can
in
do
the
that
time of the
safely.
booting, right?
If the, yeah, once it goes to shift or also, if you want, if you don't want that shift or again you want to go to the primary, again you reboot the computer, it will go back to the normal boot only.
Yes. So I didn't
So
told him about the
mm,
reboot and all
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because the VMware
Or there is a
support is
KB. You just go to VMware, just put to site like uh, booting from alt boot VMware. That's all. That is beautiful KB. It explains everything in detail. I'll share that
okay, cool,
KB. Yeah.
cool, cool, cool.
Okay. So that's
Mm.
something that I usually get. I mean, during the session itself, you're doing this. That's something that I'm very happy about it. I've seen Shahid coming back telling to me that, this issue I've had in the past, but after your class, now I get a clear understanding. I also got appreciation email and all he used to say. So
Mhm.
yeah, I've never got a chance to check with Arun because Arun still didn't settle down. Yeah, some problem he said. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
usually, yeah, it's something that I like to hear. Yeah, nice. I'm very happy about it.
Definitely, someone putting effort. It is
Yeah.
Not only about the class, only about the
Ah,
money. When you put effort and there is a result, you always feel good
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. Sure.
Definitely. When someone come to me and say my back pain is gone,
Mm-hmm.
it is more than anything else which makes
Yeah.
me happy. If someone say my leg pain is gone, it is more than anything else.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
very true.
always there. That's
Very
always
true.
there.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So coming back to
Hmm.
the concept, right? It's also called as VM kernel adapter. Here you won't see anywhere as port groups. You can see vSwitches, you can see physical adapters for VM NICs,
Hmm.
but you won't see port groups anywhere. Port groups are
Hmm.
called as VM kernel adapters, but theoretically it's called port groups.
Hmm.
Okay, if someone asks what is VM kernel adapter, it's a port group. If someone says what is port group, it's a VM kernel adapter that we see here physically in our eyes here.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some practical ways of how do they create a switch and what do they do when they create a switch. All these things we'll have a look. Okay.
Hmm.
So what do you do when you get a physical adapter? You connect your cables and you will be able to see VM NICs once you have all the NIC cards connected. So in this
Hmm.
case, we have 8 NIC cards, 8 NIC cables along with the NIC cards are connected.
These are the physical adapters, physical
Yes,
port on the server.
on the server. You can see I'm clicking, highlighting on physical adapter on the left hand side.
Mhm. Correct,
I
correct.
am
Oh.
able to see all the NIC cards and you can also see here on the left bottom. Do you see this one? Physical
Mm-hmm.
network adapter VM NIC
Network adapter, we need
20.
to.
And once you highlight
Mm.
each and every adapter, you will get the properties of it. So it is telling VM NIC 0 and what is the type, all this thing, who is the manufacturer and all
Mm.
network ID. I think you may be aware direct path IO is a concept of hardware. SR IOV, these are some hardware concepts. These are
Mm.
some networking concepts, which I will skip for now. And then
Mm.
we have properties again. These are all the basic properties of the physical hardware. All right.
Mm.
This is how you see the network adapters view. Once you got it here, all you have to do
Mm.
is highlight that NIC card, and then this is the switch creation. Or let's go to
Mm.
switch view. Go to switch view, and then you create a switch. Click on that globe icon. You will get an
Mm.
option to create switch. So this is something that I want to talk in detail. You'll get 3 options while creating this. You'll get option called VM kernel network adapter, physical network adapter, or do you want virtual machine port group for a standard switch? So let's get
Okay.
in detail to understand those. So those are the 3 types of port groups. Okay.
Got it.
So
Mm.
those are the 3 types of port groups. Let me explain in
Correct.
detail about what are the 3 types of port groups and what it does for the VMware. So I'll
Mm.
open the sketch. All right. So the first one, the first foremost one is a VM kernel adapter. Inside VM kernel adapter only, we are creating this. So if you see, this is a VM kernel adapter. This is one adapter, okay? This is showing us
Mm.
management network. If you right
Mm.
click and edit this,
Mm.
so VMK0
One
is
minute.
how
One
it's
minute. One minute.
yeah,
VM kernel adapter is the
it's a
adapter
port
on the
group
ESXi host.
on the switch. Yeah, on the ESXi, yeah, both.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you remember, I drew the diagram like this. So you have to, where is the sketch? Yeah. So this is your NIC card. This is your VM NIC.
Hmm.
And then your NIC is connected to the ESXi host like this. And this is the hardware. And this is where I put my ESXi OS, ESXi. And on top of this, I am creating a virtual switch, vSwitch.
Hmm.
Inside vSwitch, I can create multiple port groups. And that port group is called VM kernel adapters. It's represented by VMK0, VMK1, and VMK2 and until it goes VMKN. So inside the port group only, I'll be creating or I'll be connecting my VMs. That is where my vNICs comes into picture. So this is how the connectivity. I remember I draw this picture. vNICs are connected like this.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is how the connectivity. VMNIC to VM kernel adapters to the switch, switch to the underlying network adapter, and then to the switch, outside switch.
So
Huh.
once you install a OS, if you
Yeah.
want to prepare it for the networking,
Mm-hmm.
you have to first create a vSwitch, or
Yes.
you create the VM separately and then create a vSwitch.
Mm.
How is it? First you have to create the vSwitch, or you can create the
Yeah, you have to
VMs and
go
later.
this way from switch and then to VM kernel adapters, then to Phoenix. From physical to vSwitch, vSwitch to kernel adapters, then to Phoenix. So yeah, it's the this way.
No, when you're installing an operating system, suppose you install an operating system ESXi
Mm,
host
mm,
6.5.
mm,
After that,
mm.
first you create VMs, or you first you create vSwitch.
Okay, very good question. Once you create a brand new ESXi, it will defaultly will have one switch created by default. So this
Okay.
switch will be by default, it will be created and it will have by default VMK0. Then it is your option to create a VM or not. It is up to you. But these two are default. VMK0 and vSwitch is created by default when you install the OS.
So
Only
this
one
vSwitch is created, and VMK0 is a
adapter, port group
port,
adapter, VM kernel
single
adapter.
port group VM kernel adapter, which is the port group adapter, which is
Yes.
the logical VLAN.
Yes.
Okay.
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 So this
Okay.
port group has a main feature, this port group, right? VMK0, VMK1, VMKN. This has a main feature of doing few things. So what can it do is, one, it can do a management network, MGMT network I'm putting.
Hmm.
Then it can do a VM kernel, it's called virtual, okay. It's called VM kernel adapter. It can also act as a VM adapter, virtual machine adapter,
Hmm.
virtual machine adapter. Okay, this I'm talking about this VMK0, right? This
Hmm.
adapter which is created. It can do three functions. The three functions is this. It's really important. You have to understand this clearly. So it's a virtual machine adapter, or it can do a management network duty, or it can do a kernel adapter duty. Let me explain what is what. I'll break this down. Don't confuse yourself. I'll just break this down one by one. So it
Hmm.
so these are the three important features that it can do. Okay. So when you set the management port group to network manage your network, what it does is it will be useful to communicate one ESXi host to another ESXi host. Let's say if you have a cluster of 10 ESXi hosts, all 10
Hmm.
ESXi hosts to communicate with each other, and that is
Hmm.
through this channel called management network. It's a feature. This
Okay.
through this feature. Then comes the VM kernel adapter. So VM virtual machines has, or the vCenter has few features like vMotion, SVMotion, all this. So for
Correct.
that you need one dedicated port group, or you can use same port group also. For that you need to enable the feature, and that's where you come. That's where the VM kernel adapter comes into picture. The feature itself is called VM kernel adapter. The type of VM
Okay.
kernel adapter which is used for main features of vCenter is VM kernel adapter only. The
Hmm.
terminology might little confused, so it's just vMotion or SVMotion, or a few customers will use iSCSI storage, or few customers will want NFS storage. All this are done through this kernel adapter. Okay, is it clear?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Then comes a virtual machine adapter. This is for using VM to VM communication. So first is for host to host communication. This is
Hmm.
for VM to VM communication. So that's the three types of functionality that we have on the VM kernel adapter.
Okay.
Is it
So when
clear?
the VMK0 is created,
Huh.
by default, these three port group are created.
No, it will be there, but it's your option to enable which port I have to use for which option, which functionality. I'll show it in our environment. You'll get an understanding. Okay. So in our environment, VMK0 is the default one which was created. Okay.
Hmm.
So what it is using is, it is showing us network label. You see, it is labeled as management network.
Management network. The first one it is showing up what you
But if
showed.
you move it, these are all the functions it can do. So if you see, management is enabled. This functionality is enabled. The others are disabled.
Okay.
So this switch is using this port group. I'm using only for ESXi communication. So this ESXi1, ESXi2 talks through each other through this switch, through this port group. Okay. Now, if you
Okay.
see, other features are disabled. There is no vMotion, there is no FT, there is no vSphere application, vSAN, everything is disabled. Only option that I'm using this is for the communication between these two guys. But it
Okay.
doesn't mean that I cannot use it. I can use it. I'm just going to edit it. The feature is these many features every VM kernel adapter has. It starts with
Okay.
vMotion, provisioning, fault tolerance. Don't forget about it. I'll talk about that in detail. vSphere application, vSAN. I can use all this feature with only VM kernel 0. But
Okay.
it is my responsibility as an administrator to split it, because if one goes down, everything will go down.
Goes down.
So for redundancy, I'm using one kernel adapter only for management. And then I
Okay.
have a
But it
vMotion.
doesn't show the feature of it doesn't show the feature of VM to VM communication, VM
Huh.
management adapter.
It won't show you. It won't show you that there is a different, I don't have to choose any option by default. So when I create this,
Hmm.
let's say this is the virtual machine port group, right? I'll
Hmm.
I'll choose that, and then I'll click next. And then I want to use it on the first switch. So you see how I'm getting that option. So I want to create a port group wherever, which port group I want to, which switch I want to use. I can use any switch. I want
Hmm.
to use switch 3. I'll just click next for that. And then I'll click next.
So
And then I'll,
vSwitch 0 was by default created, right?
huh,
The rest of the switch you have created by yourself.
yes, yes. So I'm
Hmm.
telling this network is for virtual machine communication. I'll click next and finish. Now let's see. It's creating on the background.
Okay.
Now it won't show here. That's the thing. It won't show here. Now what I do, I go to my VM. So CentOS is one of the VM, Cent 75. I right
Hmm.
click. I right click and go to edit settings. And I will see that virtual machine port group or virtual machine communication that I created will
Hmm.
be visible here only. Why it's not showing? Let me see this guy. So it's not showing. So usually it will show here. If you see VM
Okay.
network, now it's connected to default VM network, but I can switch it. I can change it to anything I want, and it will be visible only on the virtual machine level, not on the ESXi level.
Okay.
That's the thing I want to keep it in mind. Okay, now I understand. I think there is no VM running on this guy. This guy is running here. Okay, it should be visible when you right click and go to network edit settings. You'll get that option to which virtual machine should I put it to, which network I have. So this is currently running on VM network, right?
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
can switch it to any other network. Let me see if I can add a new network. Everything is faded. I think this VM has some problem. I'll create a test VM. So I'll create a test VM on one of the hosts. Right. So if you come here on the hardware and the network part,
Hmm.
I get an option virtual machine communication. This is the one which we created just now.
Correct.
This port group I'll choose, and then I'll click next. And this VM will be created on that particular virtual machine communication port group. And next, if I create another VM and I put it on the
Hmm.
same virtual machine communication, and then I create
Hmm.
10 more VMs and I put it on virtual machine communication, all these 10 VMs can communicate each other. They don't even require underlying, they don't even have to go to underlying storage to talk something about, let's say these are all like 10 web servers and they want to communicate very fast, right? and you can put all the VMs in VM virtual machine communication port group. And what happens in future, when they want to talk to each other, they will not go to the underlying storage. The communication will all happen within that switch, within that port group. Everything will talk here only. They won't go to the vSwitch, or they won't go to VMNEC, because they have connection here itself. So this is a beautiful feature for VMs where they have high IOs. When they want to constantly talk to each other, when they have to constantly communicate each other, you can do this kind of features.
Okay.
Yeah, is this clear?
Yes, kind of. Yes.
Kind of, right? No problem, because this is one of the hardest concept. If you at least get like 10-20% of what I just told, is more than enough. The more and more we dive in detail, you'll get to know, or I'll break this down one by one when we get into detail. So for now, what I want you to understand
It's
is,
not actually hardest concept. I didn't revise my other day task. That's and I'm
oh, that's fine. No problem.
I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up.
Yeah, this
You
is
continue,
recorded.
please. I'll for
Yeah.
sure I'll pick it up.
Yeah. No problem. Don't confuse. Don't lose the hope. All I want you to remember is only three things. VM kernel adapter. If someone asks you what is VM
This
kernel
logic I
adapter,
got clearly.
you
This
got it,
logic,
right?
this particular, I got clearly. Clearly, what confusing me is when
Ah.
you go to the web interface,
Oh, okay.
HTML.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you
yeah,
go
yeah.
there,
Yeah, tell me.
yeah. Now
Hmm.
you go to the network.
Hmm. Tell me. Yeah, this is the physical.
Here,
Huh.
this is the physical adapter. No confusion.
Hmm.
You go to the VM kernel adapter.
Hmm.
Sorry, you go to the virtual switch.
Hmm.
Virtual switch or VM kernel adapter.
Hmm.
No, this is a switch creator. I'm sorry. You go to the VM kernel adapter,
Hmm. Hmm.
and here you are saying
Hmm.
I create a
Hmm.
new, like from the VM kernel adapter, you create a new virtual switch, correct?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
No, no,
Now
no,
when you
no, 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 no. Virtual switch you create here.
hmm,
Virtual switch you have to create here. So this is where you have to create a switch one by one.
hmm. So as soon as you install OS, VMK0 is getting created.
VMK switch, V switch 1, V switch 0 and VMK1 by default will be created. Rest all
VMK0 will be getting created.
this one switch. So always remember, switch on top of that is VMK0. That is switch and then the kernel adapters. That's how it's communicating.
This is where I'm getting confused. So it's a virtual switch first get created,
Yes,
and then
and
on
then the
top
VM
of that,
kernel.
VM kernel VMK0 is getting created.
Yes. So
So
it's like,
VMK0 is same as the VLAN concept.
yes.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's why if
Hmm.
you see vSwitch 0 and VMK0, that's how they are connected. So they are starting from here.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct. So
Right.
when you next time create a vSwitch, then no VM kernel adapter is getting created on top of that.
No, it will be like a fresh switch. You have to create a VMK0
Okay.
on top.
Now if I create a new switch and I group, obviously to group certain VMs, I need a vSwitch.
Yeah.
So I create a vSwitch
Yeah.
and I create 10 VMs.
Yeah.
And how do I create the VM kernel adapter for those 10 VMs or two VMs?
Okay. Two VMs. I just saw it's the. I'll just show you again. So let me say I'm a
Okay.
new customer. I want a new adapter. So I'm choosing one of
Uh,
this. And now I don't have any free network adapters, so I can't do anything. And it's a
okay.
lab. It's my friend's lab. I can't break anything. I don't want to disturb the
Okay.
network. What I'm going to
Hmm.
do is I'll just create this option. Okay. I'll just create this. So you want a new two VMs want to communicate each other. That's a requirement, right?
Hmm.
So I'll click on
Hmm.
vSwitch and then I'll click on the new networking option and I'll choose
Okay.
the virtual machine port group because you told you want two VMs to communicate, not two ESXi. You want two VMs to communicate. And then if I want,
Oh, while creating the vSwitch, I get one of those three options. That's
uh,
what you explained me.
yeah. So if you
Okay.
see, I want to create the port group on existing switch or I
Hmm.
want a new switch. I am clicking, I want a new switch. And then I
Hmm.
click next. So right now I'm not getting any adapters. It's telling assign a free physical network adapter. That means I don't have any adapters left out.
But why you need a physical adapter? You can logically use the same adapter for multiple times, right?
No, no, no. Once you assign one switch for one port group or one switch for one VNIC, you can't use it again. Sorry, VMNIC, you can't use it again. Let me explain. If you see this one,
Oh,
switch 0
okay.
is using switch VMNIC 0 and
So
VMNIC
for V switch means the eight ports gone, right?
8 ports redundant one by one. That's how the setup is here.
Correct. Now, okay, so I have physical 8 ports.
Hmm,
If you have V switch,
hmm,
if each switch is using 2 port,
hmm.
then 8 ports gone. That's why
Yeah,
you are not able to create it.
yeah, yeah, true, true.
Okay. Now, if I go to the V switch, can
Yeah,
I see? I'm just randomly asking few
yeah,
questions
yeah,
what are coming in my mind. If I
yeah, yeah.
go to V switch,
Hmm.
can I know how many ports are used here?
Yeah, that's what I've just highlighted. If you see the highlighted thing, I'm starting with V's
Ah, the
0.
below, the
Below
bigger
we
one.
see physical adapters here.
Superb. Acha, now I
Yeah.
suppose
Hmm.
I am an administrator.
Hmm.
I plan for vSwitch 0 by default get created, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
takes 2 ports.
Hmm.
Later I change my mind. I
Hmm.
thought I will assign 4 ports to the vSwitch.
Hmm.
Can I do that change?
Sure, you can. All you have to do is you have to click on the switch, click on this edit button. Do you see the
Edit button and then add it.
edit
Okay.
settings? All you have to do is go to NIC teaming and failover. This option.
Okay.
Then you have an option to add or remove port groups. All things you can do here. So everything is here. It's up
Okay.
to the
Okay.
administrator how much ever he wants. Right now, I don't have any free. I'm not sure. I'm not getting anything. So
Okay.
that's how it
Got
is.
got the logic. Now I got the logic.
Super.
So the physical NIC can be used only once
Hmm.
for a vSwitch as well. It is not like that I
Yes.
can assign the same NIC to multiple.
No, 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 no. Physically, what do you do?
Okay.
Like you buy a hardware, you assign
Hmm.
a network cable. It is for that hardware only, right? You can't
Hmm.
use it. If you buy another NIC also, how will you can use it as a redundancy for
Got
that
it.
server?
Got it.
You can't
Hmm.
use it as a
So
one.
all these days I was having a idea that one physical port
Uh-huh.
you can assign to multiple VMs.
No, 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 no,
That's why it is called virtualization.
no, no,
And
no,
it
no.
is not most of the people have this idea who are
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
non-VMware background.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is why
Ah,
on top of the vSwitch, you create port groups. There you do whatever you want. There you play
got
because
it.
you have 4096 virtual port groups for each and
Hmm.
every kernel adapter. So you can play with that.
So
Hmm.
I create a can you is it possible to create this one VM kernel adapter on the top of the switch?
Yeah, sure.
Just create I have few questions in my mind.
So I'm creating a new. So
Uh,
what type of port group you want? So you have, I've told you three types of port groups are there. Either you want a
hmm,
management for hosts, or you want one of the functionality for like vMotion, SVMotion, NFS, iSCSI,
hmm.
or you want only the VMs to communicate like a virtual machine port group.
The point number 3, virtual machines.
You want the virtual machine port group. So I right
Yeah,
click and
the
then
last one, correct.
you saw where I clicked on this button
Hmm,
and then I get the virtual machine here.
the last one. Okay.
And then I click next.
Hmm.
Now it's asking, do you want to
Ha.
go with the existing switch or you want a new switch?
This I didn't get the meaning. Existing switch
Okay.
means I
I
already have a
have four switches here. I have four switches.
correct.
Do
Hmm.
I want to use this as one of my switch port group creator? As I told you, you're creating the port group on top of
So
your.
I cannot create a new switch because already I have my 8 ports
Huh,
occupied,
now
right?
that's okay, but what if you want to do it in future, right?
No, no, I'm just saying,
Huh,
right in this situation, even if I want a new switch, I
you
cannot do
can't.
that.
You can't. So all you have
Correct?
to do is
I'm
click on browse. I will see all my
ha,
four switch
correct.
are existing. Now it's
Ha.
the administrator's call out of which I'm going to choose. Let me take host switch
Okay.
2 and I am
Hmm.
clicking next. Now I want to label it.
Okay.
So this is for virtual machine communication, you said. So
Hmm.
let's say this is a database service. So virtual
Okay.
machine database, all the database should be running on this network. I
Hmm.
click next, I click finish. That's all.
Hmm.
Now it won't show here. That's what I told you. It won't show here. You can't see it here.
Hmm.
Virtual
Hmm.
machines will be visible only on virtual machines. These two are having
Okay.
some problem. I don't know why they are not picking it up.
That's fine. That's fine.
If I create a
Hmm.
new VM, you'll be able to see that the new virtual machine, I'm naming it as A. If I click next, I'm clicking next. I'm choosing one of the data store. And then here we get on the network adapter. If you expand the network adapter, you get that database option. Both are showing because I've created both. Before I created virtual machine, now I created virtual machine database.
So I create a virtual machine
Hmm.
and I select that VM kernel adapter
Hmm.
because that is a VLAN ID. I create one with database, I create one. So
Uh,
whatever I select,
sorry.
it
Yeah.
get into that path.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It get into that group,
Network
simple port group.
port group.
Okay, excellent concept.
Yeah.
Okay, got it, got it.
All right.
Hmm.
That's how it is. I'm very glad you got it because this is very complex. Very complex. Like everything in one click can change a whole environment.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So basically, what I'll just tell you in a physical level,
Hmm.
when I have a switch,
Hmm.
what I do is
Hmm.
if I'm creating a VLAN,
Hmm.
I don't know how to create a VLAN. I'm just telling the
Yeah.
basic
Yeah.
concept. When
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
creating a VLAN,
Yeah.
then I'm selecting multiple host
Hmm.
path,
Hmm.
and then only I can create a VLAN.
Hmm.
Here,
Hmm.
technically, if we see,
Hmm.
I'm creating the VLAN path separately.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
creating the VM, and while arranging the VM, I'm selecting the VLAN path.
Yeah. Yeah. True. 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 Correct.
Got it. Got it. I got it. That's all.
Super. Super. So
Hmm.
tell me if you have any doubts in this. I had one more concept
No.
which I in my mind I want to share, but today it's too much overload. I'll park this for now. I'll continue the tomorrow session with the concept
Okay.
that I have in my mind. So tell me if you have any doubts with this concepts. Are you clear with the
No, no.
management?
Yes, yes,
Now you
yes,
tell me. I am gonna ask you one question.
yes,
Okay, I will give you the control now. Can you request for control?
yes.
Request for control. You just have to move the cursor on. There is a request button. Do you see that?
View options, request remote control.
Huh. Okay, I've approved the request. Okay. Now
Hmm.
I am a customer. You are my administrator. I'm asking you to create a port group for my file service. Okay, go ahead and create it now. I'll watch what you're doing.
Create a port group for the file servers.
Yes. Virtual machines.
So first of all, I have my existing virtual switches.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go I'll go to VM kernel adapter,
Mm-hmm.
file server. So again, that would be a VM you are talking
Yeah,
about. So
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
select the last option.
yeah. Mm.
I click on next.
Mm.
I will select from one of these because I do not have an option to create any more new switch.
Mm.
I select virtual switch 3,
Mm.
click on OK,
Mm.
click on next,
Mm.
and I'll say uh, not allowing to, not take. I name it as mm, file server,
Yeah,
and I click on next,
yeah,
and I click on finish.
yeah. All right,
This
now
will not
create a VM and then now assign it to the right port group. Yeah, I'll give you the,
correct.
yeah, go ahead and do that. Create a file server and then put it on
Huh.
file server port group.
Hmm. So I right click here,
Mm-hmm.
new virtual machine. New virtual machine. Next. Touch for test.
Folder you have to create. Which folder you're gonna
Hmm.
put it?
This one, right?
Yeah.
I have to see.
Quick question in the meantime. Why do we have folders?
Mm, uh,
I've
sorry, I'm not able to
told you
recall.
in
You
the,
told
one of
me.
the
Yes.
session. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a homework. Find it and let me know tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Hmm. Then click on next. No, I selected. Click on next.
Hmm.
Because it will show up. If you go to the screen, it will not show up as particular.
Mm-hmm.
When a newly created VM, it will not show under the ESXi. You will see it under folder, something like that.
Yeah, 20% you got it. Yeah, tell me the real reason. I've told you in one of the video. I don't know which video, but you have to do.
No, no, I remember. I remember.
Yeah, you tell me. Okay, now you're in the
Okay,
place
and
to choose the network.
correct. Now I got it.
Yeah,
I got
pakka,
this.
pakka,
Yeah.
super.
Hmm.
Now you're a network admin, right?
Okay.
Okay. I think it
Okay.
failed because there is no space for that. And that data store I
Ah,
don't have
okay.
space. Don't worry.
Uh,
Okay.
okay.
And now that's the thing. You got it, right? Now let me
Hmm.
ask you one more request. I'm the same customer. I'm telling,
Hmm.
I want one port group. So I already have one management network and I want
Hmm.
another management network. Can you please create another port group VM kernel adapter for management network? Can you create that?
Can you please repeat the question?
Sure, I already have a VMK0 management port group, which was created when I created the when I installed the ESXi. But I
Okay.
want another management network for redundancy. Can you create that?
Mm,
First of all, what is management network?
management network is to manage the communication
Between
between the ESXi host.
ESXi hosts. So your question
Hmm.
should be the customer, why do you want another management network? Customer is not aware. I'm telling, sir, management network, customer is telling, if one management network goes down, I want another management port group. So you can tell the
Redundancy here.
customer,
Hmm.
so this switch is already redundant. It has two NIC cards underneath it. If one NIC card goes down, another NIC card is going
Hmm.
to pick up. This is a management. Whatever you see there here, right? Here you will see
Hmm.
that on the switch. So you can see on one switch how many port groups I have. So there is one port
Hmm.
group, and if VMNIC 0 goes down, VMNIC 1 will be taking care. You ask the customer, why do
Hmm.
you want another port group, sir? Customer is still adamant that I want redundancy here also.
Hmm.
In the management network, I want one more. I'll give a different VMK instead of 81. I'll give 82. I want there also.
Hmm.
So you're telling the customer, okay, no problem. I'll create. So how will you create that? That's the question.
But right at this point, we cannot, right? Because already the ports are used.
You create it on the same switch, another port group. That's what customer is asking. In the same switch, I want another port group, another management
Acha.
port group. Yeah,
So under the same switch,
yeah,
I create one more.
management network.
Hmm.
Hmm.
1 minute, huh? It's not clicking.
Yeah,
So he wanted under the vSwitch 0 only?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. But will it come up with the same name?
You try and let me know.
Okay. So management network will be the physical network adapter.
No, this is what I want to tell you. Both you see the first, you can see the functionality of the adapters. You can see why
No.
I'm using this ESX lower, such
As a
as
service. Correct, correct. Management network
you can see the
should be
word
the
host management.
Host management. Correct. Makes sense.
So you
Yes.
have to choose this. You have to click next. Yeah, go ahead, click next.
Hmm.
And you're going to put it on which switch?
VMQ 0, he said.
Yeah. Did you click next?
Acha, I click next. Tell me one thing. Do the customer tell on which switch we have to select, or
No, no,
we
no, no.
decide on this?
No, it's you decided.
But if I create something like this, how the customer would remember or know this?
So he'll do a test. He'll ask you to run a test. He'll ask you to unplug one of the NIC card.
Correct. Now something happens, everything works fine. Now next engineer, how do you come to know that this one? He can
That's why
only
there
see.
will be a VMware architect in all the team. He'll have a document. There is something called SOP.
Oh, okay, okay.
That is something called change management. A lot of things involved. See, in production and all, you can't do this. Then it will require a
Got it.
lot of approval. This is very crucial networking when it comes to
Mm,
networking. So this is the place where you decide what is the functionality of my network card. Am I going to use it for management? Then I'll put a check mark on management.
mm.
And then you click next. Or you can name the network label like management 2,
If I
something.
put exactly the same name, will it clash?
It will clash. It will tell you conflict.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you have to create management network 2 or
Okay.
management 2 or something like that to differentiate. And then you choose management, and then that's the real thing or that's the actual thing you're doing. And then you set the IP address, and then you can click next,
Mm.
and then you click finish. Before you click finish, do you see the options like it's showing disabled on all the things and it was
Oh,
showing
sorry, I
disabled?
clicked it.
That's fine. That's fine. So if you see the management 2 is created now
Mm.
and the port
Both
group,
are using VMware
yeah,
switch 0.
management is enabled.
Mm.
Okay. So you wanted the customer. So the customer wanted you to create another management port group for redundancy, right?
Hmm.
Why?
Okay.
Because he's telling if one of the network is gone down and switch 0, I'll use it. Now, as an administrator, do you think it's the right configuration?
No, because anyways, that port physically goes down, both
Ah,
will go down.
both will go down. So what you should have done is you should have created another switch because, sorry, if you don't have another switch, you can create another available switch. So if
But
0
won't
and
there be
1,
a bandwidth issue?
bandwidth issue will be there. But again, if you want redundancy, so the customer's thing is, do I want high availability or do I want high performance? The customer should decide that. You can tell the this risk and assumptions on it. Like, see, I know you want redundancy, but do you want performance impact? Customer would say, no, I don't want performance impact. Then you can't have redundancy. Then you tell the customer, then buy 2 more NIC cards and attach it to the host. I'll
Hmm.
use that for redundancy.
But who will check that if I say
Hmm.
buy two knickers? Is it my responsibility to check that hardware, or just tell him you go to your
You can just copy the
hardware vendor?
existing, so simple. Just go to the network card and just see for the physical adapters. Tell them, see, you have a 100 megabits gigabits thing. This
No,
is
no, I got it. I got it. My question is,
who will do it? Huh?
uh, who will tell customer if there is a slot available, if there is a PCI slot available,
That and all
and all
hardware
this
guys headache.
hardware? So it is my
Yeah,
responsibility only to tell that if you want a high availability as well as no impact on the business, then you check for the option if there is an option to install
yeah,
one more card. That's all.
yeah.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
host will have at least 10 slots minimum. I am thinking, guessing. I don't know.
Depends. If it is a Gen 8, Gen 9, yes, it will have at least 3 to 4 PCI slots.
Yeah.
And if it is quadra port,
Mhm.
no, dual port, no, most are dual port, yeah, four
Yeah,
or five.
yeah.
Hmm.
That's a hardware guys headache. You don't have to worry. Just give them the recommendation. So this is a
Okay.
thing. This is what we need, and they will take care.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. So I had another concept in mind, but I'm parking it. I know it's too much today.
Oh, please park it. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll catch
But
up
that
tomorrow.
may not, I may not be able. I may not be responsive by tomorrow. No, let us give this gap. No, like
Yeah.
Wednesday, if it is okay for you.
Yeah. No problem. Wednesday we can catch up.
I know, Prithvi, I'm getting going a little slow, but just
Yeah.
trust me. I'll.
See, I don't have any problems in that as long as you're understanding the concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank you for this.
no problem.
Acha Priti, if you are really not busy, another you have to give me another 10-15 minutes or 20 minutes and help me with those things.
Oh,
If you are
actually,
not having
today
time.
I'm really, I got Monday, no, I'm getting
Yeah,
back to back.
Monday,
I
back to back
got
things.
mails. So Wednesday
No
we'll do
worries,
it. Yeah,
no worries, brother.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
do
yeah.
it on Wednesday. Okay,
Okay. Yeah, no
okay,
problem.
okay. That's one
All right.
thing.
I'm
Okay,
stopping
okay.